we were kind of walking around the neighborhood, checking on the neighbors. There's a lot of older people in the community, and my husband has a Jeep, and we were trying to help older people out. The rescue team was in here once the water got a little higher on the street, and he was helping them to drag the boat over higher road portions to get to their houses, to get the older people out. That morning we were here, we saw the creek getting high, because there's a creek way back there in the back part of the yard that's really small, that's never gotten any further than the tree house back there. And the creek was rising. There was some water that started coming in the neighborhood, but we never felt like the house was threatened, simply because this house was built in 1971 and has never flooded. When it started getting up on the porch and over the steps in the front, I still hadn't put like 2 and 2 together that it was filling the crawl space. I just was completely oblivious to that rescue team. And Riley was down here at the house, and she come running down the street, my room's flooding, and we're like, what the heck? You know, this changed everything, our perspective. So I come running back down here, and then David comes following behind me, because he's obviously got the lady in the Jeep that's hooked to the boat. And we realized her room had water in it, so we start trying to move stuff up higher that was lower. And that's when I realized that there was water coming up under the stove and under my pantry in the kitchen. And so that's when I was like, okay, we're gonna have to evacuate. That was the first time that thought had like really crossed my mind. We're going a bit of a rapid down there where there's never been a creek before. And I was scared that if he would drive the truck through that it would have washed them away. And then I saw a grassy area, and then people were over there waving at us, and I was like, wow. And they said, David, and I thought, well, these people know us, and Ransom and Aubrey play sports for the county, and so I thought it's somebody that recognizes us in our truck. And then I realized it was his mom and dad. They live in Etowah, which is like 15 minutes from here, and that was their second time coming out that day to check on us, because they knew we were in the area that was flooding. And
can't get in nowhere.
They were there.
They were waiting on the other side.
Yeah, they were waiting there at the same exact time where we were pulling through the water, and his dad helped guide us on the grassy path that was like a bridge over to the rec department, which is where Transylvania County had their emergency shelter set up. And so we went in there and immediately checked in, and we're like, hey, you know, we're safe, we're all out, everybody's good, but our neighbor is in his house, he can't leave, and he didn't want to leave when we left. We tried to get him to come with us, but he said, there ain't no water in my house, I'm all right, which thank God water never did get in his house, but it got in his crawl space. And so when we got to the emergency shelter, we didn't know if he was okay or not, because all of the cell phone service was out in the county. We even tried to call 911 before we left, and we could not get through. That the only hotel in the area that was accepting FEMA vouchers was Sunset Motel, which is a one-level vintage style, like tiny little hotel, and they were no vacancy, and so we had nowhere to go, so we had to figure out something. And so I posted on Facebook about our situation with a picture of him looking out in the backyard of the flooding, and one of my friends that used to work at social services with me had saw my post, and she works at Sharing House now. And so she had reached out to me via Messenger, and she was like, hey, I see that your house got flooded, is there anything I can do to help you? And I was like, well, you know, I don't know if we're eligible, but she said there was a waiver right now where anybody who was impacted by Helene could qualify for assistance. And I said, well, in that case, we need somewhere to stay. I emailed her, and she very quickly emailed me back with Yvonne Adams' name, and I instantly called Yvonne Adams, because I mean, talk about desperation. Like, I can't
It's okay to cry.
I can't even explain like how desperate you feel when you don't know what you're going to do about your living. And so Yvonne Adams, I talked to her and I explained the situation, that we were getting conflicting information from all these different organizations and entities, and I just wanted to know what we needed to do. And she was like, rest assured, I'm going to take care of you. I will tell you what you got to do. I got you, you know. Yvonne was very reassuring, and she told me that she was going to do what she could to try to help us. I had no idea who she was. I just know she was the person that everybody sent me to. And so she reached out to me within a couple of days, it seemed like, and was like, hey, I've got a camper for you guys. And I was like, what? You know, and she said, it's coming from Arkansas. I'm trying to facilitate the delivery. She said, but it's huge. It's 32 feet. The one we had was like 24, so 26. And she said that it would sleep everybody. She was going to have pictures sent to me and give me the guys' contact information with North Pulaski Baptist Association out of Little Rock, Arkansas. And so I talked to Greg on the phone and explained our situation, and he sent pictures of the camper, and it clearly was bigger and would hold all of us. And I was just so relieved and excited to get that news that we were actually going to be able to have a living structure where we all could fit in under the same roof. And she was the gateway to making that resource connection and getting this camper here.
I want to say to the people, thank you for helping us get the camper, and so that we could all live together in there, and it was a really big help for us.
If I wouldn't have been given the resource of Yvonne, we would have been spending Thanksgiving separate, and all these holidays, and it's really hard anyway to not be together and in our house at the holidays. But I'm just thankful that that this connection happened, and that we are in the same space and can be around each other and experience life as a family